Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our November 14th regular meeting of Belleville City Council. For those watching on the city streaming service or on our YouTube channel or on the Your TV broadcast, I would point out that our agenda and all reports are on the city website at www.belleville.ca. Under the Agenda, Minutes, and Live Meeting video link on the left side of the screen, if you click on that link, then on the November 14th on the calendar, it'll bring you to the agenda for today's meeting. And there is a hyperlink located in the agenda in the event you wish to look at the report so you can follow along with our meeting. I'll call the meeting now to order and state that we are all present, and I'll ask the Director of Corporate Services and City Clerk, Matt McDonald, to lead us in a moment of reflection.
May we be worthy custodians of all that has been entrusted to us. Help us to be concerned only for what will promote good government. May we bring to our council chamber minds that think and hearts that feel, always having respect for others so that we may serve the people of our city in a helpful manner and for the good of all.
Thank you. You may be seated. I'll ask for disclosure, pecuniary interest, and general nature thereof. Does anyone have any? I have one, and it's on bylaw number 2022-152, which is a bylaw to appoint enforcement officers for parking control at the Quinte Mall. I own a business there, and therefore I have a conflict on it. If it is pulled, I'll excuse myself from the meeting, and Councillor Thompson will chair that part of it. There are no public meetings today, so we'll move to item number 5, which is the reading and confirmation of the minutes of the regular council meeting of October the 11th, 2022, the regular in-camera meeting minutes of September 26, 2022. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Feeney and Councillor Sandison. Any questions or comments on the minutes? All in favor? It's carried. Thank you. Deputations, and I have to, if you just would give me one quick moment. I know that we have Paul McDonald here. Sorry about that. I got sidetracked when I was at the counter there. It's my pleasure to recognize our city employee, Paul McDonald, who's here. Paul, welcome. If you can come up to the podium, please. We want to recognize Paul on his recent Certified Road Supervisor certification from the Association of Ontario Road Supervisors, or was also known as AORS. And Mr. McDonald is a very great employee for the city of Belleville for many years. General Manager Reid, do you have anything you want to say before I present him with his certificate?
I just want to thank Paul for taking the time and showing the passion in being a certified road supervisor. This is recognized. There's only up to 1,800 certified individuals across the province, and when you put in perspective that there's 444 municipalities in Ontario, this is a great achievement. So we want to thank Paul for his extra effort, and dedication to the city of Belleville.
It's another terrific accomplishment for our employees. We'll move on to item number 7, which is correspondence, and we have a letter from the Gleaners Food Bank referring to the CP holiday train that will be arriving in Belleville. The date on that is November 29th, so next Tuesday at 9:15 at the Keegan Parkway, and it deals with some street closures. Can I get a motion a resolution that the November 6, 2022 letter from the Gleaners Food Bank requesting assistance in a partial closure of Keegan Parkway for the CP holiday train on November 29th, 2022 be received and referred to consent item 8B1. Moved by Councillor Millette, seconded by Councillor Kelly. Any questions? All in favor? It's carried. Thank you. So we'll move on to Committee of the Whole with a resolution that Council rise and go into Committee of the Whole to hear and consider reports, passing of recommendations and resolutions with myself in the chair. Moved by Councillor Alsop, seconded by Councillor Feeney. All in favor, it's carried. There are no items under 8A that require individual attention, so we have items under 8B, the consent items, where council may adopt consent items by one motion, but prior to consideration of such motion, members may request that specific items be removed from consideration under such motion, and council shall consider such items individually. So I'll go around the table. Councillor McCaw, anything you'd like to pull?
No, thank you.
Councillor Sandison?
No, thank you.
Councillor Alsop?
No, thank you.
Councillor Thompson?
No, thank you.
Councillor Carr?
No, thank you.
Councillor Feeney?
No, thank you.
Councillor Millette?
No, thank you.
Councillor Kelly?
No, thank you.
All right, so then the resolution is that the consent items be approved. Moved by Councillor Carr, seconded by Councillor Alsop. All in favor, it's carried. 8C, council information matters. Council may adopt consent items by one motion, but prior to consideration of such motion, members may request that specific items be removed from consideration under such motion, and council shall consider such items individually. We'll go the other way around the table. Councillor Kelly?
No, thank you.
Councillor Millette?
No, thank you.
Councillor Feeney?
No, thank you.
Councillor Carr?
No, thank you.
Councillor Thompson?
No, thank you.
Councillor Alsop?
No, thank you.
Councillor Sandison?
No, thank you.
And Councillor McCaw.
No, thank you.
So the resolution is that the agenda items be received. Moved by Councillor Feeney and Councillor Sandison. All in favor, it's carried. Motion to rise and report. Moved by Councillor Alsop, second by Councillor Thompson. All in favor, it's carried. So we have a few bylaws, and we'll do 3 readings, and if it's okay, I'll just read out the numbers. So first reading of bylaws 2022-149, 150, 151, 152, 153, and 154. Moved by Councillor Carr, seconded by Councillor Alsop. I better ask Director McDonald. I should pull the one for 52, and then we'll deal with that separately. So what I'll do is we'll do them all except for 152 now. We'll do all 3 readings, and then we'll have Councillor Thompson do them. First reading moved by Councillor Carr, seconded by Councillor Alsop. All in favor, it's carried. Second reading of bylaws 2022-149, 150, 151, 153, and 154. Moved by Councillor Feeney, seconded by Councillor Alsop. All in favor, carried. And third and final readings of bylaw number 149, 150, 151, 153, and 154. Moved by Councillor Kelly, seconded by Councillor Carr. All in favor, it's carried. Councillor Thompson, if you can do bylaw number 2022-152, please.
Thank you. Bylaw number 2022-152. I need a motion for the first reading. Councillor Alsop and Councillor Millette. All in favor? That's carried. Second reading of 2022-152. I need a motion for second reading. Councillor Kelly and Councillor Alsop. All in favor? That's carried. And third reading of bylaw 2022-152. Need a motion for third reading. Councillor Feeney, Councillor Millette. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. We'll move on to new business, and we'll deal with some of our goodbyes here. But first, I'll see if anyone else have any other new business they'd like to do. Councillor Feeney.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just before the election, I received a call from a woman with a disability, and she was wondering why there was only one mobility bus available on Sunday. That bus is mostly booked for medical treatments and that kind of thing, but she was very interested in being able to go to church or maybe get some groceries or something, and was hoping that she called staff, and staff informed her that it has to be a council decision because there's only one bus and it's a budgetary item. So what I would like to suggest is that Accessibility Committee and staff work together and make that as part of the presentation for the next operating budget. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That'll be passed along. Anyone else for new business? Councillor Sandison.
Thank you, Your Worship, and so I would like to just speak to public transit. It sort of flew under the radar last month, but our public transit system set a record in ridership in September. we had 153,738. And in that mix, Route 9 actually set a record as well with 5,105 riders. And if you had gone back to 2019, the next highest month there was September of 2019, where ridership was 133,000. So it looks like public transit is back, and it's back in a big way. The numbers for October had just come in, and we had 150,829. So a record month, but the second highest month that we've ever had. So that brings ridership for the year up to 905,000. We should eclipse, last year's. We should double, and we're well on our way to get back to, the standard of 1.2 million. What's also interesting in October is that Route 9, it set a new record. So it went from 5,105 in September, and the new record is now 5,230. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the members of council that continue to support that initiative, Route 9, and hopefully it's a sign of things to come. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for new business? All right. With council's consent, I think this will be the appropriate time for us to have a few comments about our colleagues who will be departing. And I want to start with Councillor Feeney. I can go first, I guess, and then finish up and have anyone else speak, and Councillor Feeney, or we can do it a different way. Councillor Feeney, I'm going to look to you to see how you want us to proceed.
I'll go first, I don't care.
Okay. Well, it's up to, go ahead, yeah, then, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. I have to tell you, I may go in the archives as having the shortest career as a city councillor in the city of Belleville, but that's okay, you get some designation. But think about it, in 18 short months, first of all, I got to go and visit our sister city in Loire, which was wonderful. I learned how to Zoom, which I'd never done before. And as a hometown gal, I got to be on a float in the Santa Claus parade, And working with my wonderful colleagues here, we did some amazing things in that very short period of time. We hired our first woman as a fire chief and brought Camp Molly here for the benefit of women in our community for generations. We did so many things, a record-breaking $87 million capital budget for infrastructure and parks and recreation and expansion of trails. It's amazing, and we had more housing development, more rental apartments being built. It was a big, big adventure. So much happened in such a short period of time. And I want to thank my councillors and my colleagues for the opportunity to have worked with you and the major management staff. I have grateful respect and gratitude for the support that you gave me, especially when we finally got to meet each other face to face. And I also want to thank the citizens that had the faith in the rookie councillor to reach out to me and ask me for their help. I don't think there's anybody in this room has a better feel-good feel when you can help somebody in our city. So anyway, I just have a great deal of gratitude, and I'm so happy to have had this experience. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to share some comments about Councillor Feeney?
Oh no.
Well, I do.
Oh no.
I do. And let me just start off by saying that Councillor Carol Feeney was a welcomed addition around the horseshoe here at the City Council table. While Councillor Feeney has had the shortest tenure on our council, her time with us did not diminish her contribution. She brought energy, enthusiasm, and a positive example of how individual members of council can make a contribution. We benefited from her service at the committee level with solid recommendations and a knack for remembering all in our city, not just those with the loudest voices. Councillor Feeney was very helpful on our trip to Germany last year and assisted us in representing the city with professionalism and dignity. Councillor Feeney delivered in spades on our trip to Germany, particularly when we met with representatives of Schutz Industries in Selters. She was charming and able to make a personal connection, and as a result, the investment of this company in our industrial park is stable and promises for future expansion. And there are many other examples of these types of contributions from Councillor Feeney over her time as a city councillor. She brought to our consideration important issues and perspectives, and as a result, we made better decisions with her involvement. We are grateful for her service, and we wish her well in her future endeavors. I'd like to ask her to come forward to accept a gift on behalf of the grateful City of Belleville.
Now I'm gonna flex, okay?
All right, next up, Councillor Sandison.
Thank you, Your Worship. So, where do I start? So the last 4 years has been particularly rewarding for me, and it's sort of having been retired already once, you're able to perhaps give a little bit more than perhaps some of your fellow colleagues just because of work circumstance. So I found myself investing a lot of time in it, and I received more out of it than I gave into it, and that's for sure. What particularly I enjoyed was the camaraderie with staff, and I'm going to just single out 4 individuals. Not that there weren't others, but particularly Joe Reed, General Manager of Operations, Perry DeCola, General Manager of Water Systems, Carol and Brandon from Finance, and Steve and Ray Ford from Engineering. From the CAO's office right to James at the front desk, the security guard that greets you when you come in, the staff is just incredible. And a lot of what the ideas that we bring forward as a council can't happen without collaboration with staff and without agreement with staff, and I think that's really proved successful over the years. Personally, I certainly have some regrets leaving. You know, I want to take the opportunity to thank the voters that voted for me. We came up 50 short. And I also want to thank the voters that didn't vote for me, because it's really important that they participate in the electoral process. And it's their councillor on this table, and I certainly respect their decision. So on that, I'll just say thank you to everybody and sit down. Thank you.
Does anyone else have any comments they'd like to say about Councillor Sandison before I do mine? Councillor Kelly.
You want me to stand?
Yeah.
Through
Well,
you,
you listen. You know, I'm not gonna.
Okay.
I'm not gonna.
Through you, Mayor, had a chance to work with Councillor Sandison the last 4 years, and we didn't always agree. But I can tell you this, and for those who are watching, my opinion, always well prepared, always very thoughtful. Whatever we were discussing, and I respected that. You could tell you did your homework, and I'm going to miss that. And it was really nice to get to know you. All the best. And I have a lot of respect for the way you took that role with that chair. So enjoy the next chapter.
Thank you. Councillor Millette.
Thank you, Your Worship. And Bill, I reached out to you shortly after the election to express my gratitude for having served with you. My congratulations on the 4 years. Bill and his lovely wife, Christine, we met probably more closely and got to know a lot better on our trip to Gunpoe. And it was a good icebreaker trip. And, well, Bill will come off to the casual viewer as someone who's all business and well prepared and knows the rules in and out, and the procedures and the protocols. He's really a lot of fun, and I'll miss that, Bill. And having served in particular on two committees, on Transit, where Bill chaired the committee, and on Green Task Force, where I chaired that committee and Bill was a member. We've made some great progress on an awful lot of files, and for that I thank you. But Bill, I sincerely will miss your camaraderie, your dedication to this place and to the people we serve. Thank you.
All right. Well, Councillor Sandison had a definite agenda when he was elected to Belleville City Council in 2018. Shortly after meeting him, it became very, very clear to me that he's not a person who suffers fools well. Nor is he someone who accepts mediocrity from his efforts or from ours. And this term, he challenged us to do more, to be better, and to leave the city in a better position than we inherited in 2018, and we did just that. At the end of these 4 years, we've benefited greatly from his service to our city and the qualities he brought to the council table. From that very first meeting I had with Councillor Sandison, he clearly and rationally laid out his priorities and his objectives on what he wanted to achieve as a city councillor this term. At the top of the list, he was focused on the need to strengthen the executive management team and for us to develop a comprehensive succession plan. And he convinced all of us of the need to improve our ability to attract and retain management talent so that our city could support the growth and improvement ahead of us. He successfully showed how necessary it was to review and restructure our administrative organization, which ultimately resulted in the improvements that were made by our council. Today, we have the strongest executive management team in Belleville's history, and we have made organizational and compensation changes which will keep our city management in excellent stead for many years to come. Of course, Councillor Sandison made other contributions, many other contributions to the success of our term. He was a veritable workhorse. He served and chaired the most committees of any member of our council. And his business and organizational background made him an excellent choice to be the first chair of the newly constituted Finance Committee. And his leadership led directly to the strengthening of our budget process, the substantially improved financial position of the city, as well as our ability to undertake and fund the record amount of capital projects and operational improvements of this term. Only the Director of Finance and city staff understood our budget better these past 4 years than Councillor Sandison, and his deft leadership has enabled us to have a successful financial performance that we demonstrated this term. But he also has a dry sense of humor, which we all had a chance to enjoy. And Councillor Sandison and his wife traveled with us to represent the city on 2 occasions this term. They rounded out Team Belleville with distinction and professionalism and represented us with dignity. It has been a pleasure to get to know them both, and we thank them for their service. We know that Councillor Sandison will keep busy and wish him well with his future endeavors. I'd like to ask him to come forward now to accept this gift on behalf of a grateful city. All right, next up, Councillor Kelly McCaw.
I think I'll keep this short and sweet. It's been a great 8 years. I've had a lot of good times here, a few not so good times, but for the most part, good times. I think I'd just like to thank everyone that supported me over the years, especially the residents. And I've always said, no election the outcome doesn't matter. You win by being able to meet so many wonderful people, and I have met great people. So with that, I'd like to just thank the residents, thank my fellow councillors, past and present, and look to the future and wish all of the new incoming council all the best. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Thompson.
As the senior politician here, I would really want to thank the councillors that unfortunately aren't going to be back in the council chambers here. It's been a pleasure serving with them. I've learned a lot, like I've learned a lot from all the other past councillors that have sat here at this table. It's a pleasure to sit here again. Councillor Feeney, I know exactly what you went through. I was sworn in February and the election was in November. It's a tough situation. You did well. I commend you for what you've given to us in your short period of time. Bill and Kelly, I certainly appreciate what you guys have served us in your capacity as councillors. Bill, I know you are passionate about the transit, and just as you read here tonight, you proved it, what you've been able to do. Kelly, you are very passionate about the homeless, getting these people that are putting up signs all over the place. You know, every councillor that comes to this table has brought something new to us, new to the city, and benefit everybody in this city. Whether they get not re-elected this time or in the past, every councillor brings special recognition to this council. And we mustn't forget that. Even if they don't get re-elected, they brought something that has benefited our community. And these three that are moving on, we need to remember them for what they brought to us. And I commend them and I thank them for giving me the opportunity to sit with them around this horseshoe and bring the things to the city which we so deserve, the people deserve the dedication. So I want to thank them as a senior councillor here, and it's an honor, and I look forward to some continuation with them. Maybe they'll join some of the boards, the committees, and still bring their knowledge and benefit. But thank you very much.
Councillor Kelly.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. I think it's important to acknowledge all the councillors, and Kelly McCaw, 2,920 days as a city councillor. 8 years, well done. That's commitment and showing that you're invested in your community. And I look at you and your family. I know the work that you put in for the Humane Society for Hastings Prince Edward, and quietly just watching what your family was doing, how they, because people that may not do this job or have done it or continue to do it know how important family is. And I know your daughter Kennedy was a part of that Humane Society fundraising initiative, keeping that message out in the forefront this past summer with their summer job at Westwicks Park. Think of all the communities and all the people that you've had a chance, and I say that sincerely, to touch over the last 8 years and try to make a difference, because I know your heart was into it. So thank you for your 8 years for the city of Belleville.
Councillor Alsop.
Yes, thank you, Chair, and I just want to congratulate all three of our colleagues who won't be carrying on with us for all the wonderful things they've done for the city over their terms. Certainly, Carol, I can empathize with your situation. We were the new kids on council together and shared lots of learning together and lots of great times, and particularly a dinner at the Mayor's House with our delegates from Large Germany. We got to sit and talk a little bit and get to know each other better, and I really appreciate that time and all you've done for the community, for arts and culture, and those of us who need public transportation and housing, and you've done a great job and should be very proud of your service. And likewise to Councillor Sanderson, it's already been said here today, but the preparedness that you brought to every meeting, your in-depth knowledge of all the financials that were in the reports, and you can tell by the way that people ask questions, the level of involvement they have, and Bill would routinely get off some very good questions, because you could tell he was not only motivated, but had done all the reading and done reading that we didn't even know we were supposed to do. And Bill had done it. So even when we didn't agree with each other, you were always so well prepared, and always made me have a sober second thought at some of my own ideas when I heard from you. So I certainly appreciate that. And then Councillor McCaw, 8 years on council, it speaks to the esteem that you have in the community and the support that you have. And certainly, speaking up for those among us who have the least. making sure there's fairness in our housing process, and so many of the other things you've done on council. And one of my favorite times spent with you was when we went knocking door to door, raising money for the Humane Society. It was a sort of an odd couple situation, but people liked it. We raised a lot of money that day, and I really appreciate that time we got to spend together, and your continued great work for our community. So thank you all for the work that you've done, and best of luck in everyone's future endeavors.
Thank you. Councillor Carr.
Yes, thank you very much. And I just want to echo a thank you for your contributions to the community. Councillor Sanderson, you know, it's been good working with you. I know we haven't always agreed on everything, but that's okay. It's a great spot where democracy can work, where you can bring ideas, differing of opinions. We sharpen them here, and we make decisions collectively as a council. And over this past 8 years, we have done, for some of us, 4 years for others, a couple years for others, but collectively, we have, as a team, left the city in a better place. And it's, as you can see over time, as councils build on councils, that momentum continues. But if it wasn't for the work of everyone around this table, we wouldn't be in the position where we are, where we can then build on it. I know, Mayor Panchuk, you're going to have some words as well. I want to thank you for your leadership. I know we didn't always see eye to eye on things, but at the end of the day, you steered 8 personalities, 8 different personalities with 8 perhaps different agendas to try to come together in order for us to build consensus, make decisions for the betterment of our community. And I think, you know, for those that are leaving, walking away, you can walk away satisfied that you've left the city in a much better position than when you came here, when you were brought to this table. So thank you very much for your service, and I'm sure we'll cross paths in the future. Thank you.
All right, well, Councillor Kelly McCaw is someone who I would describe as an unlikely city councillor. And what I mean by this is that growing up on Station Street has given her a direct, tell it as it is, no-nonsense approach to life. And she is fiercely proud of the fact that she doesn't need other people's approval to help her decide what she thinks is the right way to deal with matters. A successful business owner and former real estate agent, Councillor McCaw broke onto the political scene here in Belleville in 2014. And during her time on council, she faithfully and passionately defended the issues she felt had not been previously championed effectively. She spoke up when she felt it was necessary to include the voices of others in our decision-making process, and it never mattered to her whether she did so with the support of council or that she did it on her own. Democracy is messy, and every voice matters because every voice should matter. And we can't just say this. We need to show it by ensuring that all voices are not just heard and represented, but they're also spoken here during our discussions. And Councillor McCaw was always mindful of this during her 8 years on Belleville City Council. Over that time, she fought for a wide swath of people: seniors, the poor, young adults struggling to make a start in life, those suffering from discrimination, business operators, and others. All had their interests routinely represented by Councillor McCaw. Perhaps she was most effective, at least in my opinion, when she voiced the needs of our emergency services so that they were properly led and resourced. As the vice chair of the Police Service Board, I cannot remember a more passionate and able advocate for the women and men of the Belleville Police Service than Councillor Kelly McCaw. And speaking of women, Councillor McCaw continually pushed us to ensure that the voice of women was not only shared when considering decisions, but she also worked tirelessly to have more women involved. She is very proud of the advancement made by this council when it comes to diversity in our senior management. Just look at the results. Female directors of finance, human resources, emergency services, and fire chief, as well as a newly hired director of economic development. Competent, qualified women in these positions who were all advocated for by Councillor McCaw. And the city of Belleville is better today for her service. I'd like to ask her to come forward to accept this gift now on behalf of a grateful city. All right. Well, I'd like to, I guess it's my turn. And I'd like to start off by stating that I have been extremely blessed by God to have had this opportunity to serve my adopted city of Belleville. Being the 76th mayor of Belleville has been an incredible privilege, and I am extremely grateful to everyone who has supported me and the journey of our council over these past 4 years. Specifically, I want to thank all members of council for the amazing progress we've accomplished this term. The quantity and significance of the accomplishments were because of our effectiveness. History will show that this term has been one of solid, competent management, as well as one of big ideas. Big ideas which have transformed Belleville into a highly sought destination due to our outstanding growth and the opportunities that are now here. Belleville has a bright and promising future based on increased diversity, economic development, population growth, world-class facilities, and improved services which are attracting even more people and investment. We've contributed to what is now a golden time, a golden era in Belleville's history in terms of growth, investment, development, and progress. And this term, each of us got to have a role in this advancement, which I know makes us all so very proud. So I want to say a big thank you to you all for your assistance and effort, and not just the 8 of you here today as councillors, but also to those who we served with, and I specifically mentioned former councillors Patricia Culhane and Ryan Williams, who were elected with us in 2018. The changes we made early in our term with Ryan and Pat led the way for us to continue to bring more recent improvements, and I am certainly grateful to all of you for these efforts. Secondly, I want to say a big thank you to the Chief Administrative Officer for the City of Belleville, Rod Bove, and all of our city staff who executed our plans and policies in such an effective and successful way. What an incredibly professional and competent group of individuals who truly epitomize public service. I have learned so much these past 4 years from you all and have been continually impressed by your skill, your ingenuity, and passion to improve our city of Belleville for the benefit of our residents and for future generations. And I also want to thank those who support the Office of the Mayor and Council Services. Led by Sarah Tooman-Button, this group managed significant change and allowed us to not just grow the number of city events and activities, but to also do so in a more professional, competent, and communicative manner. I'm grateful for their support, advice, and direction over these past 4 years, and wish them all well as they transition to the new mayor and council. You know, our most important partner as a municipality is the provincial government, and we have been blessed this term to have had MPPs Todd Smith and Daryl Cramp, and now recently Rick Brzee. And Daryl is here with us today, and it is so special to have him here because his term as member of parliament and member of the provincial parliament, truly we have never seen of the production in terms of producing results for the city of Belleville from any member of parliament in the history as we have from Daryl Cramp. We have been so successful with provincial projects in particular, and it's due to the efforts of Minister Todd Smith and Daryl Cramp and Rick Brzee and all their colleagues in the provincial government. And lastly, I want to say thank you to my family and friends who served and continue to serve as my support system. You know, public service is not something we do on our own, and I'm certainly blessed. Our 3 daughters make us incredibly proud each and every day, and to have been able to make the improvements for their future has made any sacrifices and effort all the more worthwhile. And while Lisa, my wife, has been my secret weapon for the past 26 years, and this term it was a Mitch and Lisa team effort, as she attended so very many events with me and was always an excellent sounding board. You know, Lisa stepped up with our incredible staff at Boston Pizza Belleville to operate our business, which continues to thrive and receives wonderful support from our community. We will set a new all-time record in sales this year as we continue to recover from the pandemic based on their efforts, and I am truly grateful. But our friends have also been so wonderful as well, and they've helped me to remain grounded and recognize that political life is not worthwhile if you don't have the necessary balance. While many of us find temporary or newfound friendships as a result of becoming elected and being in our elected positions, my network of long-time friends has kept me grounded and continues to mean so much to me. What an incredible experience this has been that I've had, and I don't regret any of it. Not the difficult days or the decisions, nor the pandemic. And I would do it all again because of what we have now to show for our time and our effort. There were so many different events and official occasions over the past 4 years, and during it all, we had a lot of fun. We got to do a lot of cool things and meet some incredible people. And some of those people are here in Belleville, and some are throughout the region, and others around the world. And all of them have left an indelible impact on me. You know, it would have been very understandable to have had our term defined by the COVID-19 pandemic. It interrupted and disrupted everything in our lives, and it monopolized our efforts as an elected council. The fact that we did not allow our response to be at the expense of our planned progress is a testament to the resolve and focus we brought to our jobs. We made significant progress on problems and opportunities which are unique to Belleville. Some examples of this would be the relocation of the Belleville Agricultural Society and the Fairgrounds property, the redevelopment of the Memorial Arena and the Legion building, as well as the purchase of the former Bakelite property for public use and the record residential and commercial development statistics that we posted. There is much more that I could mention as part of the big ideas we embraced, and there continues to be many opportunities ahead for Belleville. I look forward to the additional progress made over the next number of years to come, including the construction of the Belleville East Arterial Road, the expansion of the Black Bear Ridge Village, and the completion of several projects now underway or set to start. To the 5 of you who will continue to be part of the next council and to continue to lead the city in the future, I wish you the very best. I am confident you will be successful in continuing our efforts along with the next mayor and council who will join you as you continue the work we have started. And I am here to support and cheer you on as best I can, and will always make myself available should I be of any assistance at all. But for me, and my time as the 76th mayor of Belleville, all that I can do now is done. I leave you confident in knowing that the improvements and progress we've made these past 4 years has been done in small part also due to my efforts. This is extremely satisfying in knowing that my time as mayor has made a difference to improve Belleville, and I am so very grateful for having had this opportunity, and I thank the people of Belleville for their support. Thank you.
Nobody said stop. I've been asked as part of the council team to say a few comments about Mayor Panchuk, and I know that Councillor Millette just whispered in my ear, Mayor, that he was hoping to get a few words in too. So I'm hoping all of our team here will have some things to say about you. Where do we begin? 8 years on the city, 4 as a councillor, and then the last 4 as a mayor. I became a part of your team, if you will, 2018, and you lead by example, as Councillor Carr touched on today. There's 9 unique personalities around this table, and all bring a certain gift or a talent that enables the city to move forward. And when I think of you, I think of work ethic, commitment, no such thing as an 8-hour day. All the events that you went to with Lisa and your children over the last 4 years, or 8 years for that matter, that shows commitment and being supportive to all the different agencies that had events. And that's not an easy thing to do, because at the end of the day, there's only 24 hours in a day. And it seemed, for me anyway, that you were going nonstop. And maybe that's the role of the mayor, and I know it is, but you seem to go above and beyond. And I know that you wanted the city to move forward, and I just wanted to share a couple of quick stories. the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Committee. Mayor Panchuk came to me about 3 years ago to get involved with that, and he told me of the full support of the mayor's office. And over the last 2.5 years, through the pandemic, we've had some events. We're bringing our community together, one event at a time, and we've seen the successes. And the face of Belleville has changed in the last 4 years, and thank you for that support. There was never a no, it was how can I help? So thank you for that. I do recall too, a couple of years ago, Councillor Thompson and I met with you. The warming center in Belleville had a temperature set at -10 for the doors to open. And Councillor Thompson, like all of us here at City Council, City Hall, knew that that was not the right number. There shouldn't be a number identified with it. And I know Councillor Thompson and I met with Mayor Panchuk about 2 years ago. We had a meeting right here, and just a few months ago, it's at 0 now, so that's progress. No temperature. 0 means no temperature. So all good, it's open. So -10 to -5, now there's no requirement to be open, so that's progress. You touched on it yourself, the fairgrounds. I know how hard you worked on that to get that moving forward, and that's going to be a model for Ontario. When that's completed and we see events from around the province coming, you can take note that you had a lot of work into making that happen. So well done on that. I just wanted to wish you all the best in the next chapter. One of the other things that people might forget, what the mayor did, I remember we weren't here 2 hours and back in 2018, and he said he wanted to get rid of that go-go club across from City Hall, and you were successful with that. So well done on that. And if it does happen in the next year or 2 or 3 years, I will fight for you to be part of the putting the shovel in the ground for Costco. And all the best to your wife, Lisa, and yourself and the kids. Job well done. Thank you.
As Councillor Kelly mentioned, I would like to say a few words, Mayor Panchuk. Thank you for the dedication that you've given, not only as mayor, but you laid the groundwork for that in your involvement as a councillor as well. And in my former career as a journalist, I recall you're sitting where Councillor Thompson is now, and I was at the press table where Mr. Spitters is now, and watching you, and you weren't afraid to be outspoken on issues, but you were always you always had your homework done when you did. Throughout your term as mayor, you and I have crossed swords on a few occasions. You tossed me out of these chambers on one occasion, but that was only one. Some of us have had 2 of those trips. But they have been raucous on occasion, but I can assure you it's got nothing on some of the other raucous encounters in this chamber. And but on a serious note, as Councillor Kelly said on the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Committee, upon which I sit and I witness and I concur with his comments about how supportive you were on any of those. As chair of the Green Task Force, in the past, that committee wasn't so much about getting things done, if you will, on the environmental front. And we made some changes at your urging on that committee. I'm not taking credit for it in any way, shape, or form, because Councillor Sanderson was very helpful on that committee, but he too can attest to the fact that with that encouragement, we've managed to get some very substantive changes and a new direction, if you will, on the environmental front, and you've been supportive of that all the way. Lisa, as Sean mentioned, we've had very, very good opportunities to get to know you as well. None probably as much as your constant amazement of what I would venture to try when we were in Korea in terms of culinary delights. And some of them I don't think I'll ever even try again myself, but thank you very much for being along for the ride, and gosh, I hope this isn't the last we see of you, because you truly have been a delight and very much a support for Mitch and all this. But I just want to say thank you and all the best, and we'll raise a glass to you later. So thank you, Mayor.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to congratulate you on your distinguished service to the city, not just in your role as mayor, but also in your role as councillor, previous to that as the chair of the Egg Society, and as well the Belleville Chamber of Commerce. You've been someone who, as soon as you got to town, got right to work on making it better and contributing of yourself to the city, and certainly that's been felt. And there has been some talk tonight about how everyone who is leaving this chamber has left the city in better hands than when they came into it. And that's certainly been the case for you. And as you were running for re-election, you talked about wanting to do a job. And certainly everyone around this table understands what that meant. You know, you've done the job every single day, gone above and beyond. And even though you and I maybe had a rocky road to get to this point, I've always appreciated that your door has always been open to me, that you've gone above and beyond in certain circumstances to help me be successful on council. And I've certainly appreciated your guidance over these last 18 months. And I think, as it's been mentioned, you know, family plays so much into this. And as someone with a family myself, I know how much it takes away from that to do what you've done here, and it shows the commitment that you've had. And I think in the same way that when Barack Obama left office, people said, "Can we keep Michelle?" That's how a lot of people feel about Lisa as well. So it's a dual loss. You've both been so great for our city. We've appreciated you all so much, and thank you very much for making my time on council what it was as well.
So, Mayor Panchuk, yes. I guess right from the very start when Mitch talked about us getting together for a meeting because I had certain things that I wanted to see us accomplish for the city. Mitch also had a list of items and basically a mandate that he had put forth. So we sat there and went through it, and I was able to align with the vast majority of the items that he wanted to accomplish for this city. And so the very big ticket item was housing. And you know, there was the housing summit in 2019 where basically we involved the entire community. And out of that spun a community improvement plan, which is with us today. It's 19 various programs. Again, with Mayor Panchuk's leadership, we dedicated $14 million to that program over the next 10 years, and I'm sure that'll grow. And the other thing that, you know, there's a whole list. I mean, we can all talk for hours on the accomplishments. But the other thing is the personal part of it. Mitch and his wife Lisa certainly opened up to myself and Christine, and we became friends through this process. And it's that humanitarian point that sometimes gets a bit overlooked. But in Mayor Panchuk's case, he took the opportunity to recognize former members of council in ways that we hadn't seen before. And, you know, whether it was Kay Manderville or Pat Culhane or former Mayor Shirley Langer, there was a lot of Robin Jeffries. I mean, the list goes on. And I think if there's one thing to be remembered for, I think that speaks volumes of the man. And I very much appreciated working with you these past 4 years. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, everybody, and again, we will have an opportunity a little later to have dinner, our last dinner, the last supper, so to speak, this evening. Councillor Thompson?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I had my hand up, and Councillor Kelly went to present your certificate. Unfortunately, I am not able to make it tonight, so I'd like to say a couple of words. I want to thank the Mayor Panchuk for the opportunity to serve under him for 4 years. And we certainly didn't see eye to eye in a lot of things, but we strive to get things done in the city, and that's really what we're about, to get things done in our city. And we did that, and I want to make note of a couple of places that we really got involved in. Humane Society, Habitat for Humanity, and the other one, I can't think of it, for end-of-life care, hospice. Those three that, you know, we all needed in our city, and you were the one that, among other councillors, that's championed it. So I want to just recognize you on that behalf with your dedication and leadership, and Lisa's dedication to you has made our city better, and I thank you very much for the opportunity.
All right, if there is no other new business, there are no motions today. Anyone have any notice of motions they want to make? No? Okay. Announcements. Go ahead, Councillor Kelly.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor, I received an email this weekend from Ruth Ingersoll. She is Executive Director of Community Development Council of Quinte. And on their website, I'm hoping that people are watching or here in the gallery today, or fellow councillors will get on and support Hastings County Food Security Engagement Project. And what they're doing right now, they've submitted a grant to the Commonwealth Learning and Engagement Accelerator Fund. It's known as LEAF, for funding to go around and talk to Hastings County high schools and the Loyalist College to share information about food insecurity and solutions for our community and ways to get involved. They just need some funding to get there, so they've made an application. And if you go to their website, you can fill out and state why you think food insecurity needs to get the support of community development of Quinte. Also, just want to get these stats in. Over 1 in 7 households in Ontario struggle to put food on the table. That's 1 in 7. Hastings County, it's 1 in 5. So that's why we need the engagement to continue to happen. So support that. Ruth Ingersoll, Community Development Council of Quinte, go to their website, put some information on, and hopefully they'll get that grant money. Thank you. Oh, last thing I want to get in. Festival of Lights is on Friday at Westwicks Park. We kicked that off at 5 o'clock. We're asking families to arrive. Santa and Mrs. Santa Claus will be there. We have music and food, 4 different food vendors this Friday, and we're expecting thousands. There'll be a fireworks to end the evening. It starts, get there around 5 o'clock. Lots of parking, fireworks at 7:20. So Friday night, city kicks off, Festival of Lights. Thank you.
And Councillor Kelly, did I understand correctly that the Grinch will also be in attendance on Friday, as well as
Yes, you're
little
right,
Cindy
yes.
Lou Who?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, that's wonderful.
That's right. I forgot to get that in, but thank you.
Good. Councillor Thompson.
I got 2 announcements. Last week, about a week and a half ago, I attended sort of the beginning of a Christmas display by Fred Rushton on South John Street. He has it set up on the weekends. You can go down, look at his display. And the night that I was down there, volunteers were there to set it up, and the money is going to the food bank and the Special Olympics, and he hopes to raise about $1,000. So thank you to Fred, and I commend Fred because it wasn't that long ago Fred had part of his leg amputated, but yet he was down there with volunteers trying to put the display up, make it happy for the people and the children, the city of Belleville, and that's the dedication we're getting from our citizens, so I want to thank Fred Rushton for that. Then that afternoon, I also went to the 150th anniversary of the Odd Fellows. Charlie Benson called me, asked me if I'd go. It was an honor to present a certificate. There's not a lot of members left, but there's a lot of good history there with the Odd Fellows, and I want to thank them, congratulate them on 150 years. they're adamant that they will continue, even though the numbers are small. So I congratulate them on their 150th. Thank you.
Right. Anyone else? All right, I have a few proclamations. I'd like to start by proclaiming November the 16th as Louis Riel Day in the city of Belleville. November 16th is the anniversary of Riel's execution in 1885. And during that year, Louis Riel led the Métis people in the Northwest Resistance, which was a stand against the government of Canada because they were encroaching on the Métis rights and their inherent way of life. The day is honored to celebrate Métis culture, recognize the many contributions of the Métis peoples to Canada, and to highlight the struggles that they continue to face. The Métis flag will be flown at the Quinte Sports and Wellness Center on November the 16th. I'd also like to proclaim November 17th as National Children's Grief Awareness Day. Organizations and local communities across Canada, including nonprofits, schools, hospitals, and social services agencies, work to help foster resilience and emotional healing in children and youth who are grieving a loss from a life-altering crisis. Children's Grief Awareness Day raises awareness of the impact of that loss on children and their need for specific support, and to help others understand how to best show that support for and in solidarity with grieving children. The Belleville sign, the Bridge Street Bridge, and the Fire Station No. 1 Memorial Garden will be lit in blue on November 17th for this cause. I'd also like to proclaim November 25th as the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women. We stand with Three Oaks Foundation as they raise awareness and promote gender equity and equality. The Belleville sign, Bridge Street Bridge, and Fire Station No. 1 Memorial Garden will be lit in purple on November the 25th for this cause. The Courage flag will also be raised at the Quinte Sports and Wellness Center. I would also like to proclaim November 26th as Economic Abuse Awareness Day. November is National Domestic Violence and Awareness Month and National Financial Literacy Month, and the Canadian Centre for Women's Empowerment is campaigning to support survivors of economic abuse, one part of a domestic violence that is not part of the conversation in Canada very often. I'd also like to proclaim that day, November 26th to December the 10th, as the 16 Days of Activism Against Gender-Based Violence, Orange Days, to unite to end violence against women and girls. And this is a time to galvanize action to end violence against women and girls. We've done this many times in the past. The United Nations Unite campaign to end violence against women and girls raises awareness and calls for action during the 16 days, and they use the color orange as a uniting theme. The City of Belleville acknowledges the Grandmothers Advocacy Network, GRAN, as a Canadian organization that advocates for the human rights of grandmothers and vulnerable children in sub-Saharan Africa who experience violence in their daily lives. And violence against women and girls is pervasive around the world, including here in Canada, even in our own city of Belleville. By creating worldwide awareness and calling for adequate, sustained resources, we will find solutions to end gender-based violence. The Belleville sign, Bridge Street Bridge, and Fire Station No. 1 Memorial Garden will be lit in orange November 27th to December the 10th for this cause. There were a number of events over the last few weeks, but I just want to mention a couple of them. I was so pleased to be joined by Councillors Kelly and Millette, as well as owners Abraham Ramos and Marlon Power, for the grand reopening of Chilango's Mexican restaurant at their new location at 365 North Front Street. Chilango's restaurant was part of the damage of the June storm that hit Belleville, and it caused so much damage they could not continue in that location. They have now been able to move, and it was so exciting for them and for us to have them welcome guests again. Congratulations. On October the 14th, Councillors Sanderson, Carr, Kelly, Thompson, and myself were pleased to join City of Belleville staff, Quinte West Mayor Jim Harrison, and Quinte West staff to celebrate the completion of the Sydney Street North resurfacing project with a ribbon cutting on Sydney Street North, which is a shared road as is Boundary Road. On October the 15th, the Gleaners Food Drive had their annual, they were able to return to their annual food drive at the Wallbridge Crescent location and several food stores in the city. Every day, many in our community rely on the food bank, and I urge everyone to be generous. The Diwali celebrations on October the 16th were, again, very, very good, and I want to thank Councillor Kelly and members of the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Committee for their leadership on that, and all the councillors that joined me that day to celebrate at Zwick's Park. It was a wonderful day full of dancing and culture and color, and food and community, and it ended with a lot of fireworks. And thank you to everybody for putting on such a wonderful event. Second year for us. I look forward to the third year, because 3 times is the charm. On October the 18th, Councillor Sanderson and I were pleased to join members of Black Bear Ridge GP Inc. for the exciting announcement of the Black Bear Ridge Village decision by the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing to approve the minister's zoning order that we requested in March. And we want to thank Minister Todd Smith, our MPP, as well as Minister Steve Clark. That's a great step forward for Belleville, and it's going to lead to a $1.5 billion investment in that part of the city. On October the 19th, Councillors Alsop, Millette, and I were pleased to take part in ribbon-cutting ceremonies for the new tennis and pickleball courts at Potters Creek, as well as the new basketball courts at the Tom Gavey Alamite Park. And that is great work by Manager Reed, General Manager Reed, and all of the staff in that department to really expedite that project. And then the next day, Councillors Alsop, Millette, and I were pleased to join former Mayor Shirley Langer and her family and friends to unveil the new Shirley Langer Recreational Trail. The trail is located by the Herkimer Boat Launch and is a way to commemorate the deep care for the environment that Shirley Langer demonstrated in her time as mayor. And on October 21st, the next day, Councillor Alsop and I were pleased to take part in the ribbon-cutting ceremony to officially open Phase 1 of the new BMX pump track at West Riverside Park, which was an initiative that Councillor Alsop has been working on for a number of years. Finally got traction. We were able to do it this year. It was wonderful to do that. On October 22nd, the Hastings County Historical Society and the Quinny Field Naturalists recognized John McCoon, who's from Albert College, was Canada's foremost naturalist, and he was appointed the chair of the natural science at Albert College in 1868 and went on to do incredible things nationally as we understand much more about our environment and how to coexist with it. The Ben Cork Footbridge was officially opened on October 26th, and I want to thank Councillors Millette, Carr, and Thompson for joining me as we finally were able to cut the ribbon on that project and open it. It's a vital connecting piece for our city, and we're thrilled to have it open. On Friday, October 28th, I was honored to be pinned the first poppy by the Army, Navy, and Air Force Veterans President Terry Law and the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 99 Sergeant-at-Arms Don McPherson to officially launch the 2022 Poppy campaign. And I know that it was very successful, and we're looking forward to the final results. It is such a worthy cause, and it's very important for us to never forget and to always remember. And my last official act was to present the flag, which flew at half-staff when former councillor and local historian Jerry Boyce passed away last month. We recognize his service, and we wish his family well. It was wonderful to visit with Bev Boyce this morning and share memories of Mr. Boyce and the history of the city of Belleville. And she talked about not just the past, but what an exciting future we have as well. And I will remember that as my last official act. And it was truly, it's been a great run. With that, I will now close the meeting by asking for a confirmatory bylaw, that bylaw number 2022-155, a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at its meeting held on November the 14th, 2022, be read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed this 14th day of November, 2022. Moved by Councillor Alsop, seconded by Councillor Feeney. All in favor, it's carried. Motion to adjourn, Councillor McCaw and Councillor Sanderson. All in favor, it's carried. Thank you very much, everybody, and thank you for everybody in the gallery for attending as well today. Thank you.